Hey, Ma, looks like we done made it. It's been a whole nother year, y'all. Now, what we know, just to go ahead and give you some facts that a lot of people don't pay attention to, we know that in 2015, the suicide rate surpassed the murder rate in the United States. Now, what does that tell you? We know that 2015 was worse than 2014, 13, and 2010, 12, and 11. We know that 2016 was worse than any of those years. We know that 2017 was worse than any of those years. And what can we expect for 2018? Huh? What can we expect? We can expect 2018 to be worse than 2016. The unique thing about 2018, this is not a prediction, this is just the facts, the way our wonderful government is setting everything up. Congress is going to start off, their number one big issue is going to be gun control. Remember, they passed the tax, now their big issue will be gun control. Now, why gun control? Well, did you notice? That's how 2017 ended. Several shootings, gun control. We're still going to have the police shootings. We just had a shooting in Texas where a baby was killed. And all we get is a chief of police saying how he wished it were him instead of the child that died. How about we stop shooting at people just randomly, just firing gunshots? You go to the gun range all the time, don't you? You practice. So why can't you hit your target? You aim for the largest mass, so why are you hitting anything else but your target? But that's okay, because it's okay to shoot somebody 5 times because you suspect they have a gun. It's okay. It's okay to claim that you thought your life was in danger every single time there's an incident. It's okay, because that's the way you guys do things. It's okay to militarize our police departments. I say our police departments because remember, the police are supposed to be there to serve and protect the corporations. You're a corporation. They're supposed to be there to protect your corporation, and they're not. Interesting, ain't it? Never looked at it that way, did you? This is Billy Withers, ladies and gentlemen. The late Billy Withers. They call him a one-hit wonder, but everybody and their grandmama know that this song lives on throughout every single stupid generation there is. Ladies and gentlemen, when they bring up the gun control thing, they're going to mention all the violence, but they're not going to mention the fact that the police have killed more people 2017, 2015, 2016 who were unarmed and did not have guns. You guys remember the young man in North Carolina who got shot by the police officer when he pulled him over in a gas station on a so-called traffic stop? And wait, hold on. Let's get to that traffic stop. The police asked him for his driver's license. He reaches into the glove compartment to get his driver's license, and the police shoots him. Now, at least he fired once, okay? That officer fired once. And the young man said, "You shot me. Why did you shoot me? I was just getting my license. You asked me to get my license." Because they are trained Caribbean Queen or Caribbean Queen, depending on how you pronounce the word, by Billy Ocean, who is still performing. Ladies and gentlemen, they are trained that you are the enemy. It is to be expected. There has to be an enemy. I mean, all criminals don't look like criminals, so they have to criminalize individuals. So if you have a certain dress or style to you, you get shot. Look, Mr. Scott the one they choked out on the sidewalk. They want to now tout Mr. Scott as a victim. They weren't touting him that way originally. When the officer choked him to death, nobody was stopping the officer. He said, "I can't breathe." He said it 3 times, "I can't breathe." You have him on the ground. You have other officers there. Why are you still choking him? There is no reason. Then we have officers tasing people for no reason. That will continue, people. There's nothing to get around that because this is the way the officers have been trained. You cannot blame the officers. I know. What do I sound like by saying that? Ladies and gentlemen, you cannot blame the officer. These officers are being trained this way. Most police officers now are being recruited with military history. The police departments are looking for individuals who have military training. Do you not recall the many videos I've done as of late, which specifically highlights that the military is not supposed to be engaging the public? But that's exactly what's happening. The military is not supposed to have any connection to the civilization population, which is why one of the first things we get from the DOD, Department of Defense, because, ladies and gentlemen, we are under military rule. I know it doesn't appear that way, doesn't seem like that, you don't think it, but you got to understand the law. We have been under emergency rule since 1933.
No, we haven't. You can't prove that. I don't know what you're talking about. Talking about emergency rule since 1933.
Ladies and gentlemen, I've been showing you guys this as of late, and many of you have not been picking up on it. I can tell this, okay? But let me let you know what the Senate said. This was on July 24th, 1973, 40 years later. 40 years and 3 months later, which said, since March 9, 1933, the United States has been in a state of declared national emergency. These proclamations, Congress doesn't issue proclamations, only the president issues proclamations or executive orders, gave force to 470 provisions of military law, not federal law. Pay attention. It said provisions. They didn't create new laws. What they did is they amended other laws, but they did it under the proclamation. See, the proclamations gave force. Excuse me, the commander-in-chief cannot give force to law, but they can give force to military orders, military command, military rule, military law. Told you the courts are under courts martial. Well, let's go on. Ladies and gentlemen, all it takes is for each one of you to be able to do exactly what I'm doing here. Oh, this Billy Ocean, y'all. This is my song. Me and this song, I used to think that love was just a fairy tale. Okay? Until that first hello, until that first smile. But if I had to do it all again, I wouldn't change a thing, because this love is everlasting. Got through a lot of interesting things with the tongue. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, each one of you have the same capabilities. Let me show you what I mean by those capabilities. You have to take the words and break it down. Pay attention. Since March 9, 1933, these proclamations, what proclamations were issued on March 9, 1933? Well, he's saying these proclamations associated with March 9, 1933, not the ones issued on March 9, 1933. 2038 called the special session of Congress because the president declared a national emergency. Congress then identified that there was indeed a serious national emergency. Just that simple. Look, we are still under a national emergency and under martial law. Pay attention. Now, this is just the statements made by these guys. Okay? But they are associating that with this. It says we have been since 1863. It's actually 1861. Okay? But hold on. They continued it. And it went all the way to the so-called Act of October 6, 1917, otherwise known as the Trading with the Enemies Act. Trading with the Enemies Act led to the President, Woodrow Wilson, ordering the flag to be flown Admiralty, because that was the jurisdiction now. Okay, hold on. In 1925, the Attorney General announces in his Attorney General opinion, remember he's the top lawyer in the country for the president, not for the people. You just have to understand how it all got started. You can go to the laws you didn't know about. That information is right in there. Just got to type in Attorney General and it'll take you right to the sections. Okay, not going to do that now because there's no need. You can find the laws you did not know exist at satcom.com under documents, satcom911.com, sorry. Anyway, it says these proclamations, 2038, 2039, 2040, those are the only ones he's talking about, because those proclamations are the ones that led to these 470 future provisions of military law, which they refer to as federal or Fidel law, like Fidel Castro. And they try to make all of these other military dictators look like they're the bad guys, when we have been under a military rule, military dictatorship since then. These hundreds of statutes delegate to the president extraordinary powers exercised by Congress. Sorry, you can't do that. You don't have the authority to delegate to the president the powers of Congress. Separation of powers, talked about that yesterday. Now, it says that these laws affected American citizens. You can't. The president, under his commander-in-chief capacity, could not affect the citizenry of America. That's why at SATCOM, the first thing we do for every single person is we get a letter from the DOD which says that you are not part of the military and that they don't keep records or files on the general population, on American citizens. Why do we do that? Well, first, remember, it's the Trading with the Enemies Act. If you were an enemy, they would identify that. They do not. They do not call you an enemy. So, ergo, the U.S. military has documented that you are neither an enemy nor an unlawful combatant, that you are a private citizen. That's why that word is so important. Okay, now, the vast range of powers taken. See, somebody usurped the power. They took it. It says it conferred enough authority to rule, military rule, presidential rule. Country is supposed to be run by 3 different divisions. In this country, without reference to, pay attention, normal constitutional process. You notice how they use the word normal? That word is to be there to take away the strength of the other words. So let's do this. Let's get rid of that. Okay? To rule this country without the Constitution. That's just what it says. That's how we can break it down. Oh, you know what? This song is Sad Songs. I don't know why I got the name wrong at the beginning. They can touch the heart of someone new, saying I love you. I love you. Okay. Now let's break it down one more time. Public Law 94-112, September 14th, 1976. This is the actual entire Congress coming together and passing a public law to terminate certain authorities with respects to national emergencies still in effect. So they got rid of the national emergencies. And to provide for orderly implementation and termination of future national emergencies. Ladies and gentlemen, they did not give us the orderly implementation and termination of the future national emergencies. It says that there was one exception, 502A. So you want to go to Public Law 94-112 to Section 502A. The provisions of this act do not apply to the Trading with the Enemies Act as amended March 9, 1933. And pay attention, the powers and authorities conferred by that act, which is the 12 USC 95B. Okay? You need to understand, not 95A, because that wasn't part of this act. 95A came from the original. 95B was the amendment. So it is 12 USC 95B. Okay, now that you know, now you have an idea of what to prepare for. The end of next year will be worse than the end of this year. How do we know? Because they're preparing us for it. Look, they got everybody, they passed a tax bill. Wait. They passed a tax bill before they passed the spending bill. Remember, the spending bill still ain't been passed, but they did an emergency provision. Okay, so they passed their tax bill. They're happy. Hooray! We passed the tax bill. Oh, God, we're going to lower taxes. That's a smokescreen, everyone. Now they're going to have people talking about that tax bill for the next 4 to 5 weeks. Congress is going to go on winter vacation. The courts are going to go on winter vacation. Trump is going on winter vacation. We'll probably can't say this for a certainty, have one more so-called false flag surprise. Surprise, surprise, surprise. Oh, golly, Sergeant. Okay. Oh, you guys know he just wants to sing a song, y'all. Because he just wrote a simple song. I like Billy Preston, everyone. Well, the late Billy Preston died a couple of years ago. But I like Billy Preston. Well, let's get back to this, ladies and gentlemen. What's going on? What's about to happen? Well, they just gave you guys information. Now, they didn't have to put this information out there before the so-called Christmas Day. The day before Christmas Eve, they announced that they thwarted a so-called Christmas Day attack at Pier 39 in San Francisco. Ladies and gentlemen, nobody's going to be at Pier 39. Go ahead and do the research. Don't tell me about it. I haven't researched it. But let's go. Events at Pier 39, San Francisco, December 25th. Okay, well, no. I don't know who told them to do that. Hold on. Got to turn my mic on. Events at Pier 39, San Francisco, California, December 25th, 2017. I just want to test a theory, ladies and gentlemen. Okay, your visit to San Francisco starts at Pier 20 to celebrate the 28th anniversary of the Sea Lions' arrival at Pier 39 December 18th. Okay, local Advantage members get holiday half off discounts through December 31st. Ladies and gentlemen, uh-oh, we're supposed to be 2017 and not 1027. Okay, that's what we're supposed to be. But I put, it says holidays with an evening of wine, beer, music, and fun at Pier 39, winter wine pour December 1st. But I'm looking for December 25th, ladies and gentlemen. You see, the unique thing about December 25th is very few people leave their homes. Okay, I just want you to see Christmas Eve, they do it Christmas Eve and says 9 a.m. to midnight. New Year's Eve, location, interest period, lower level, not enough people. So if you're going to do a false flag, aren't you supposed to pick a day where there's a lot of people? But they're not doing that. This one, they thwarted this event where there wasn't going to be the most people because we know that if you want to terrorize people, you want to terrorize the largest group of people that you can. Like I told you, I didn't have to look this up. I already knew that there was nothing scheduled for December 25th. Okay? It's just because nobody goes nowhere on December 25th. Uh-oh, look at that. Explore, look at that. It will be closed Monday, December 25th in observance of Christmas. Now, this is Pier 15. So, wait a minute. That's usually the case with a lot of facilities. New Year's Eve, on the other hand, whew, a lot of them are open, but usually December 25th, nothing's open. Now, but they said it was going to be the Christmas Eve. Yeah, but most people are not out and about Christmas Eve. Well, it could have been during the day. It could have been. We have no clue because we can only go by what they're reporting in the news. And guess what, y'all? We all know that we definitely don't listen to what they tell us in nobody's news. Y'all know this. And I'm not talking about the fake news that Donald Trump made that little phrase famous, and Facebook and Twitter and all of them want to make the phrase famous. Phase. Famous. Famous. I put phrase and famous, phase and famous together and came up with famous and phrase. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, the end of 2018, watch and see how they get us involved in some sort of conflict. A conflict that would be building, that they're going to tout as building up the entire year. Now, we first started off, pay attention, with them trying to make North Korea an issue, trying to antagonize North Korea. For what reason? North Korea wasn't bothering nobody. Go back, pay attention. North Korea wasn't, when Trump first came into office, North Korea wasn't bothering anybody. Pay attention. The Palestinians weren't bothering anybody. Hezbollah wasn't bothering anybody, but all of a sudden they're all in the news as of late. So we got North Korea and now we got Palestinians. Now, you notice the end of the year, we haven't heard nothing about ISIS until yesterday. And you're going to keep hearing stories about these organizations, every single one that I just talked about. I'm not making a prediction, I'm just telling you that they're setting us up for it. They're preparing us for it. That's why they're mentioning these names subtly. Go back and look at the news. Notice how they subtly mention Hezbollah. Apparently somebody's doing some sort of an investigation in some Hezbollah tied blah 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 blah. And Trump all of a sudden at the end of the year, not at the beginning of the year, sitting up there and announcing Tel Aviv is no longer the capital of Israel, but Jerusalem is. Why? Because he knew that that would cause distraction. You were thinking I was going to say controversy. Uh-oh, sorry, somebody's calling. It's Saturday morning, hold on. Ladies and gentlemen, I apologize for that. I've been gone for a good almost 40 minutes since I put it on pause. So you only got to see it change by a second. I was talking to someone at SATCOM. We were going over the land patent thing. I was getting him to understand. Now, this is an actual lawyer. So I was getting him to understand the situation. Okay? This is what happens, ladies and gentlemen. When you get a mortgage, when you go out there and say, I'm a mortgage my property, okay? Okay, what the bank is doing, we're getting ready to get this plan right here, 25,000 facts, because we're going to be doing a lot of faxing, y'all. A lot of faxing. We're going to go here. This is what we need you to understand because this is the thing that people are not understanding. And they should understand it. Okay? Let me see if I can find it. Y'all see about that thing going on stuff? They know that it's wrong. I don't know why they're doing it. Oh, it's strong. Then you need to add some deodorant to that and do some anti-perspirant deodorant. Or let me say it the Southern way. Anti-perspirant deodorant. Okay? Yeah, I'm sorry. That's Southern states, they do the syllable thing. Perspirant. I'm sorry. Hey, I don't care if you're from the South. I got many of my peoples is from the South. The dirty South. Anyway, and they say things like for true. For true? Okay? So, and my cousin, Etna, Pee Wee Allen, who would always go, oh, shucking now. Okay? I'm just letting y'all know how it is so that y'all get it. So when I talk about the South, I'm talking about it because that's my heritage. So step the off, mother. Excuse me. Got something caught in my throat because I was wanting to say something and it just didn't come out like I wanted to say it. So had to cough to make sure that you understood that there was something that was supposed to be there. Pay attention. This is what I had to get him to understand. My hope is to get you to understand this so that you get it. I've done several videos, but the problem is when I do videos, people don't get it right away. So that's why I continue to do videos and talk about the same thing over and over again because my hope is that they'll get it. Our conversation was this. The ownership of all property is in the state. Now you notice that's lowercase. Individual so-called ownership, in other words, private ownership, is only by virtue of government. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why you do the land patent. The land patent is from the government, i.e. law. Land patent, according to the court, we showed you the case, is superior to any other type of claim on property. Why? Because it is from the government, amounting to mere user. And use must be in accordance with law and subordinate to the necessities of the state. Well, when the U.S. government grants you the patent, pay attention, grants you the patent, and you must do an acknowledgement and acceptance on it, and you must say that you are an inheritor, an heir on the property. I'm not going to give you a sample, an example. FU, F as in Frank, Francisco, Fernando, Valenzuela, okay? You, if you don't get it. I'm not here to do something for you or to give you a template. You guys need to get out of that template stuff because that's the stuff that ruined it for everybody. Now we gonna y'all see this song right here? Walking in rhythm. This is what I told people. Whenever I was on vacation, I would let them know that I have a rhythm. Ladies and gentlemen, that's why I'm always playing music. I have a rhythm. There is a method. There is, in order for me to get through life, last night I was probably up every 3 hours. Okay, I went to sleep initially at 8, woke up at 11:30, went back to sleep, woke up at 3, stayed up from 3 to 5, went back to sleep, was back up at 7. Okay, that's my sleep pattern. And let me let you know, I have been fortunate enough that I'm able to go to jw.org, go to JW Broadcasting, let that play all night, and pick up on the information that's there, and the new insights, and the virtual understanding of things. So I have something on my mind, but I'm trying to not let television be on my mind, or the series, like I'm watching Stargate Atlantis. Uh-oh, gotta let that connect back again. Okay, it's connected again.
Can't touch that cord. Get your hands off of that.
Okay, so my sleep is sporadic. I don't want to take medication every night. Taking medication every night becomes ineffective. The body grows immune to it. So I don't want to go through that. Okay, so getting back to this so that you understand, this stuff is second nature to me because my mind, when it focuses on it, it breaks everything down. Okay, I have a situation where I gave a person a responsibility, a job to do. That person had 6 weeks to do the job I gave them to do that I was going to pay them for. Ladies and gentlemen, that person didn't contact me. Well, because they tried to critique what I asked them to do, and I told them just do what we agreed to, and they got butt hurt. That's why I said butt hurt, anus hurt. Okay, the scrotum maximus. Okay, and that's why I said scrotum maximus. Making up my own words now. They got butt hurt. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, I hadn't heard from the person since they got butt hurt, and I was very nice when I told them just these. This was the agreement. This is the way we're doing it. Ladies and gentlemen, my eldest sister, I dedicated this song to her. Ladies and gentlemen, this song is by my boy, Bobby Blue Band. And he's talking about how you gotta start all over again. We don't want to start all over again. He said he's talking about going back. No, go ahead and tell him, Bobby. Ever since I heard this song, I was about 15 years old when I actually played it and listened to it. And as I'm listening to it, it was the epitome of my sister, my eldest sister. That's what I saw in her life. That nothing ever went right for her. She's always had it difficult. But you know something? She's always pulled through. No matter what she's gone through, she's always pulled through. She reminds me a lot about my mother. She is the eldest daughter, and so of course she's gonna mimic my mother. Now she's not the eldest daughter. My first sister died of crib death. Angela. I remember her name. My mama told me the child's name, Angela. Well, Angela died of crib death, and then we have my second sister, and I would have had 5 sisters, ladies and gentlemen. Well, I had 4 other sisters, okay? But again, that's a different story, okay? On my father's side, I had 4 other sisters. So it would have been 9 sisters, y'all. Y'all see what I'm saying? That's a lot of sisters. Okay, but this song reminded me of my sister. Let me get back to this government thing so y'all get it. Ladies and gentlemen, since the property belongs to the government is the only one who can give you the property rights, not the bank. But this is the reason why you are having your homes taken. Okay, but Congress told you. You didn't have to get it from me, and it wasn't incumbent upon me to explain this to you. But because they came up with a money laundering plan, pay attention, this was money laundering. Wait. Come on now. Wait. That's Bobby, y'all. All right. They came up with a money laundering scheme. That's why you always hear the people talking about congressional schemes. Okay? This money laundering scheme said that all the property in America all all the property, not some of it, all the property was a government obligation. And in return for the government obligation, it would represent a mortgage on all of the homes and all of the property of the people of the nation. Now, pay attention. All of the property includes each of you. So when you hear people talking about they have a mortgage out on you, that the birth certificate represents that mortgage, that a driver's license is another representative of a mortgage, that a title certificate for a car is another representative of a mortgage, please understand that's exactly what they're saying. But here you have it here.
Well, that's not what they meant. They didn't mean all.
Pay attention, people. Other property of all of the people of the nation. All other property. Doesn't matter. You think you own property? You don't. They took it away in 1933. Same time. These two are written at the same time, people. But this is the actual congressional record. This is the actual congressional record. Now, I want y'all to understand. Okay, we're going to take a little horse that has no name. Okay? Now,
America!
anyway, ladies and gentlemen, all other property of the people. So what's happening is that they have a mortgage on all of this stuff. What you don't have is proof from the government of ownership, that the government has granted this to you. Why do you think you take your birth certificate and you attach an affidavit of ownership and the government stamps it with a seal? And you, those of you who own property, you don't realize that you're supposed to be attaching that birth certificate to that property. I know, Minnesota Court Rule 220, it tells you. Now, when you read Minnesota Court Rule 220, and I'm going to give Mr. Yusuf El his credit because he told you guys, I was speaking generally, he was being specific. It's talking about land titles. However, understand something, an affidavit showing ownership was the issue. Because individual so-called ownership is only by virtue of the government, because that birth certificate is not your property. Haven't you heard people telling you that? Are you now starting to get it? That was the conversation I was having earlier. Okay, let me make it more clear to you. That's why the government, the courts, and remember they're administrative courts. They're part of the administrative branch of government. Call them executive courts. That's why they fly the executive flag. Okay, that flag was introduced by the president in his capacity as commander-in-chief. They fly that flag in the court. That is not a government flag. That is a military branch of government flag. That's right, the military is a branch of government. That's why he was allowed to do what he did. But so is the people being another branch of government. Okay? But let's get back to this. Because they have a mortgage on all of the homes. You think this has something to do with your deed of trust and some sort of mortgage that you signed. You think that you authorized them to trade your property on the market. People like me have told you that in the past, but no, you didn't authorize them. This law authorized them. The March 9, 1933 Act allows them to trade your property on the market. Okay? You get it now? So when you go into court and you don't bring proof of ownership, that the government gave you ownership of the property, that it is no longer a government obligation, you're going to lose your home. If some of you end up keeping it, remember, you're not keeping anything because they can always come and take it because it's still on the tax rolls. It's still registered in the county because they own all property. That's why you do the land patent, and that's why people like me showed you cases like this. Okay? That's right. Pay attention. Notice what the Supreme Court said. Territory of Hawaii, the sovereign power, selling land, decreed sale, balance, enter deficiency judgment, and sum remaining of due proceeds insufficient to pay the debt. The sovereign is exempt from suit. Not because of any formal concept or obsolete theory, but on the logical and practical ground that there can be no right as against the authority that makes the law on which the right depends, and this doctrine is not confined to sovereign powers. Well, ladies and gentlemen, did you hear what they just said? There can be no right against the authority that makes the law. Interesting, ain't it? Which in actual administration originates and changed the law of contract and property. Excuse me? Somebody changed the contract of law, law of contract, and law of property? No, you guys don't understand. They can't change the law of contract, law of property, because those existed prior to the Constitution. The right to property existed prior to the Constitution, and the right to contract existed prior to the Constitution, which is why the so-called articles of the Constitution says that they cannot impair the right to contract, and that everyone has the absolute right to property. Why do you think eminent domain was placed into the Constitution? Because that's the government saying that they were going to play Indian giver. Now remember, they talked about Indian giver as if the Indians were the ones who took back what they promised. No, it was the U.S. government who took back what they promised. They were the Indian givers. They gave to the Indians, or took from the Indians, and then took from the Indians what they took from the Indians. Well, anyway, that's what this is saying, that the government can be Indian givers. Says there can be no legal right against the authority that makes the law, unless you claim that the law is unconstitutional, illegal. Okay? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know who this is, so this is Herman's Hermits. Okay? And this song is called A Kind of Hush. A Kind of Hush. I don't know what type of kind it is, but it's a kind of hush. If I'm going to take a paragraph from here and tell all of you that if you want to take apart, pick apart, this is the paragraph that tells you what's going on right now. Okay, don't worry about anything else. This tells you what's going on. Okay? This is how they're doing all their stupidity. But remember, today, the government is not making the law. Who's making the law? Congress. But I thought Congress was the government. No, Congress is not the government anymore. Congress is military. They're acting under the military clause of the United States. You don't believe me? Just go back and, okay. I keep showing this to you. My hope is that it will sink in. We're not looking for that. We're looking right here. Since March 9, 1933, the U.S. has been in a state of declared national emergency. So let's find out what happened, because it talks about 12 U.S.C. 95. Let's find out what state of national emergency. Let's go back up to that 12 U.S.C. 95. Provisions of the Act of October Trading with Enemies Act, a military act, as amended, is hereby, now you notice it doesn't say nothing about B. It only says A, is hereby amended as follows. During times of war and during any other time of national emergency declared by the President. Now, here is where they're going to let you know. Remember, this is a military act, but now they're saying that if it's another time of national emergency, then the president will have military authority. No, they can't do that. This is a military act to begin with. So they identify the president's military capacity as commander-in-chief. The president may, through any agency that he may designate, all agencies are administrative. All agencies are corporations. Didn't you notice that? Didn't we talk about that? All agencies are corporations. Okay? Since they are corporations, the president is the executive agency creator. Secretary of State is under the executive branch. They create all agencies, including your state agency, that all caps name, or otherwise investigate, regulate, that's why they regulate you, they prohibit you under such rules and regulations as he may prescribe. So all the laws have been prescribed under these rules, regulations. Hold on, I want you to understand, Code of Federal Regulations, rules of the federal court, United States Code Service, and may, by means of licenses or otherwise, any transaction in foreign exchange, transfers of credit between or payments by banking institutions, you are a banking institution, as defined by the president, not defined by me, and exports, porting, melting, or marking of gold, silver coin, or bullion, or currency. Now, here is the problem that you need to understand. By any, I ain't no person. You are a person under law. Okay, an individual means a natural person under statute. Remember, they prescribe the rules, not you. Within the United States or any place subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Okay? Oh, ladies and gentlemen, music connoisseur. Let me let y'all know who this is. This is JF Michael. DJ Julie Condi. Okay? Connoisseur. It is full. I don't speak the language, y'all. But, ladies and gentlemen, French, Espanol, Latin, it's all Greek to me. Same root to rudimentary base language. Look, any person within the United States is subject to the jurisdiction thereof. Citizens of the United States were now included in the definition of enemies of the state. This is what, and I agree with them on that, ladies and gentlemen. Since it said any person thereof, you classify as any person thereof, i.e., subject to military rule. Okay? However, this is illegal because Congress had no authority to ignore the Constitution. This act right here would be classified as unconstitutional. Wait, it is classified as unconstitutional. Aren't you guys paying attention to what I've been telling you? This act is classified as unconstitutional. Pay attention. Oh no, not there. I went to the wrong part, y'all. I'm not looking for that. I'm looking for the other one where they actually tell you it's unconstitutional. Pay attention. It said that it was unconstitutional. It says confer enough authority to rule this country militarily without reference to the Constitution. Congress has said it's unconstitutional. No. So, ladies and gentlemen, what I am doing here, by the way, this is Bob Steger and Seeger. I said Steger like I'm thinking about the Gold-Steagall Act. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, Bob Steger, and he's talking about against the wind. Anyway, getting back to this, I've been highlighting the parts that you all need to focus on. All you need to do is go over it and over and over it again. This section right here, pay attention. These two sections right here, the last 5 videos I've done, I've highlighted these sections for you. This section here, pay attention. Just rewind the tape if you have to. Don't care about the HDR. HDR is not important. Okay, this section right here, and just go rewind the tape, copy it, type it down, write it down, do whatever you got to do. And you're going to have to include the amendment, the March 9th, 1933. This is the March 9th, 1933 Act, people. This is what the Act said. Okay? Please understand that. And this is the stat at large. Okay, but hold on. That's not it. That's not the end of it. See, that's the March 9, 1933. It says the actions, regulations, rules, license, orders, and proclamations hereafter taken, promulgated, made, or issued by the President of the United States or the Secretary of the Treasury since March 4th, 1933, pursuant to the authority, March 4th, 1933, told you, he had got inaugurated on the 3rd, and before he could get his feet wet, he was already bringing stuff into fruition. Okay? They say are hereby approved and confirmed, but they didn't have the authority to do that. But let's go on up because we ain't got to worry about that. We ain't got to worry about trading with the Enemy Act. You ain't got to worry about putting all that in there. Let me see. Where is that other section at? I'm trying to look for it, y'all. I just had it. We just talked about it. I skipped it, didn't I? I skipped it, y'all. I done went too far up. I'm gonna have to go all the way back down. Find my section. Not there. Where you at, section? I've been highlighting it. Not that section. I missed it. Oh well. Anyway, I showed it earlier. Those are the sections, the ones I keep going to all the time. I went to it earlier. I can't find it now because I'm looking for it and I can't find it. So those are the sections you are going to put. Now, oh, by the way, the exclusive power of legislation necessarily includes the jurisdiction, includes the exclusive jurisdiction. The subject is so fully discussed by Justice Phil delivering the opinion of the court in the Fort Leavenworth Railroad Company versus Lowe that we need do no more than refer to that case, and the case is cited in the opinion. Ladies and gentlemen, I agree. So take and just do this right here. Watch this. Right click and pull up the case. I agree that you shouldn't have to say everything. I agree that you shouldn't have to put all the words in there. I agree that you should be able to paraphrase it. Okay? So there's the case. Oh, I thought it's military reservation. That's what the M was for. Okay. Whoa, wait a minute. Military reservation, but it was railroad. The owner of a railroad on the reservation of the United States in that state, known as the Fort Leavenworth Military Reservation. I promise you this is going to talk to you about the military being sovereign territory. I guarantee you it's going to talk about the military base being sovereign territory. Okay? And when it talks about that sovereign territory, see, so basically the railroad argued that the enclave clause meant that the federal government had exclusive jurisdiction on the fort. And we're the only ones, blah, blah, blah. I guarantee they're going to talk about the military and it not being part of the United States. I guarantee you, ladies and gentlemen, all you got to do is go read it. I haven't read it. I just know what the principles of law are. Okay? But this is me letting you know. So that's me digressing because that was a conversation I was having with one of the SATCOM members. Oh, look at that, the rear end. Man, that's a big, huge rear end. I'm not about to do the song about I like big butts. Anyway, hold on, people. Got to give this artist his credit too. Gilbert O'Sullivan, Alone Again. Ladies and gentlemen, at the end, you guys know the song. Anyway, at the end of this coming year, 2018, there's going to be a lot of distractions. You see all the movies. Did you notice? I want you to pay attention. Did you notice how at the end of the year, very few new releases occurred this year? They said that's the first time in recent history that they did not do, what was that, Labor Day weekend? They did not do any new releases. Then Thanksgiving, they did very few new releases. And here it is Christmas, very few new releases. Why is that? Come on, it's not that the industry has enough money. No, they don't have enough money. So what's going on? You all need to pay attention. But all the new movies, all of the big blockbusters are coming out next year. Why is that? Why are they all coming out next year? Interesting, ain't it? I just want y'all to pay attention. Interesting. Ask yourself the question, why are they doing that? Because that's when you're going to need the distractions. That's when they're going to start passing these laws. They just passed a tax bill. What are all the secrets about tax bill? What are all the hidden things in this tax bill? The same as they passed those laws in 1933. Remember, they had a Great Depression. People were starving to death. People were dying. And they distracted everybody during that time. The president had just gotten elected, and here they are passing these laws before the people could even take a breath. And then they want to tout Franklin Delano Roosevelt and his New Deal. Ladies and gentlemen, the New Deal was a raw deal. So, once again, what can we expect? The same old, the same stuff that we've been accustomed to. The beginning of the year, if you're going to invest, oh, you really want to pay attention to the Bitcoin thing. You notice how they've been telling you that Bitcoin was a bad investment? Well, the reason why Bitcoin was a bad investment, at first it was a good investment. But because they saw that that currency, Bitcoin, was hereby going to interfere with their control over currency, they started investing. And they started buying up Bitcoin, buying it up. And then all of a sudden, they sold it. And the bottom of it fell out almost, dropped 44%. Ladies and gentlemen, they did that because they need to get rid of the speculators. And the people who put together Bitcoin did not put in an algorithm to prevent that from happening. You see, Bitcoin, there should be a limit as to how much a person can buy. Just that simple. There must be a limit. Why should there be a limit? Because unlimited currency leads to inflation. Limited currency leads to a supply and demand issue. Supply and demand issue increases value. But that is the basics of economies. I shouldn't have to explain that to the people who created Bitcoin. No. You know, there's a guy who started it, got his money and took off, sold all his shares and moved on a long time ago. Why? Because he didn't care about where it was going. I hope you all care. I don't care. I haven't used Bitcoin. I'm not planning on using Bitcoin. People have asked me, what's my opinion? My opinion was exactly what just happened yesterday is what I knew was going to happen. That's why I didn't get involved in Bitcoin, because I knew that they were going to manipulate it. And then they were going to collapse it. This is not the first time. They're just repeating. Okay, it's like dominoes. Repeat. Okay? That's what they're doing. And all you got to do, as I've already told you, is look at history. They are repeating history. But most people are not paying attention to history. Majority won because I love. Majority One is the name of the group, ladies and gentlemen. Most people repeat. History repeats itself. Okay? History repeats itself. I have no idea who this character is, y'all, but that's what happens when you download a bunch of desktops. See? Look at this one. Oh, look at that. He's got a wet nose. It must mean he's healthy. That's the stupid stuff people used to tell. No, if he's got a wet nose, that means he's sick. Got a cold. You seen a dog sneeze before? I have. Okay, ladies and gentlemen, everybody knows that history and idiots and morons and idiocracy have the tendency of repeating themselves, doing the same thing over and over again. Doesn't matter about if they expect a different result. It's that they keep repeating themselves. So what's happening now? The same thing. Pay attention. Go back to 2000 when an idiot was put into the White House. When the delegatory, Electoral College. When the Electoral College issue came up in 2000. And then notice how they started passing this. Oh no, we ain't gonna play no Brother Louie, because I done told y'all she was as black as the sky. I don't appreciate that. Okay. Let's see. The House Martins song is called Build. I ain't never heard of the House Martins, people. Well, anyway, ladies and gentlemen, in 2000, when Bush was put into office, not elected, put into office. Everybody and their grandmama know he was put into office twice. That was done on purpose. Okay? Just remember, Ronald Reagan did a two-term presidency. Then we had Bush, so that's the Republicans in office. Republicans. in office for 12 years. After Bush was Clinton for 8 years. After Clinton was Bush for 8 years. Remember, the president only stays in office for 4 years. So why are these 2 terms? Why all of a sudden, since the 80s, is it 2 terms? Look at who did a 2-term before that. Okay, just keep going back. And who did 2 terms before that? Look at how long of a period it was before somebody did a 2-term presidency. Okay, then we have Obama, the so-called black man, okay, who was born in Kenya, but they say Honolulu, Hawaii, or wherever, doesn't matter. He does 2 terms. But we got to give that one a little bit of credit. Because not only did he do his 2 terms, but he also had the popular vote. They sold that black person, okay? They really did do the marketing and sell on that one, just like they did with Bill Clinton and then tore him down. You notice Barack Obama had his sex scandal at the very beginning, the gay guy saying that they used to be lovers. And that went away. No more sex scandals with Barack Obama. They tried to make it all about the birth certificate after that, you know. But what I'm trying to tell you, they sold that one. It didn't matter how much other people brought up negative stuff about him. He had the popular vote. Then he had the so-called electoral college. That's why his win-loss ratio, there was nobody asking for no recall when that idiot was in office. And I call him an idiot too because Barack Obama, although he had a level of intelligence, Barack Obama, Bill Clinton, even Carter. I wouldn't give Carter too much intelligence, but let's give him a little bit more intelligence. And Ford, they had a level of intelligence that wasn't seen in Reagan. Reagan was an actor and a very bad one. He had been governor. Okay, big deal. Then you had Bush. He worked for the CIA, so I guess you have to give him intelligence, Central Intelligence Agency. Anyway, so you can't Bush. The only thing what's so stupid about Bush is him throwing up on the Chinese prime minister. Okay, you know that right there. So, you know that stupidity. That's the only thing. Other than that, he was unremarkable, and I'm tired of him. Okay, I'll just leave it at that. Then we had Clinton, who was the blackest cracker that they've ever made. Anybody ever ate a black cracker before? I ate a graham cracker. No, I said a black cracker, because that's what Clinton was. They touted him out as if he was for the black people. And as the person said, he put more black people in jail than any other president. Sure enough, Shogun. And then, then we have the great white hope, Barack Obama, who was going to come save all the black people, put them on boats and send them back to Africa. He didn't do a thing. Because if he had done anything to help a particular group of people, race of people, everybody would have said he was being prejudiced. They're not saying that about Trump, are they? Whoo, doggy, not Trump. No, ain't nobody talking about him being prejudiced, especially when he's going after Muslims and letting everybody know that his family's of Jewish origin. Donald Trump. Donald Trump. Sorry, ladies and gentlemen, I didn't know that his last name, his family name, was changed when his great-grandfather, immigrated to America. But isn't he talking about immigration as if it's a bad thing? But this is Don McLean, y'all. Castles in the air. Why does he have that music playing? Because he's a music connoisseur, dear. Really? Well, I ain't never heard that music before. Well, I don't think he really gives a whether you heard the music before or not. But shouldn't he play something I want to hear? Well, if you ask him, he'll tell you to shut the f up and keep your opinion to yourself. And you want to hear something else, turn the video off and go listen to something else. Okay, you ain't got to listen to this. That's what he's gonna tell you.
Why would he say something like that? Don't he want people listening to his videos?
Well, he'll tell you that he really don't give a.
But why do you do the videos in the first place? Don't want nobody listening.
He doing this because he like to hear himself talk. Okay, leave him alone. Let him get back on with the video. I'm sorry, y'all. I don't know why. That must be a connection thing because I heard it too, and I don't know how it happened because I don't know. I'm connected to the internet, but I'm not connected. Anyway, at the end of next year, things are going to be just like they were in 2001. They're going to start an event, and that event is going to lead to more and more military issues. You're saying, how do I know? Ladies and gentlemen, I don't know what this is, but whatever craft this is, that's a car tire, so this is a transformer. If it's anything, because that's a car tire. So I don't know what this is, but don't email me telling me what it is. By the way, I tell people don't do something and they do it anyway. They think I read their emails. The minute you people send me messages on my site when I tell you don't do it, okay, I said right there on the site, don't do it. You do it, I ignore you. I literally ignore you and then I block you on YouTube and then I report you for harassment. You see what I'm saying? I don't play. You know, you get enough harassment counts against you. You can't be on YouTube. They'll kill your little stupid channel, your little email address access. Okay, so you don't want to play with me because I should show y'all how many emails I have. Okay, that's one email. Oh wait, I can open that. I didn't know if it was gonna open up an email. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Then I have FOMO. Okay? These are the main ones that I go to, which is why other people who are emailing me at other email addresses, when I tell them don't do that, and they do it anyway, I block them. But I do want to say how much, at the end of this video, appreciative I am of those of you who actually care for the information, who say, oh, I listen to you on the way to work, I listen to you while I'm doing dishes, listen to you while I'm cleaning the clothes and doing all that. Hey, I appreciate you too. And the fact that I could bring this information to you while you are listening to it, causing you to think. Ladies and gentlemen, that's the purpose of all of this. He had a little dog, y'all. Long time ago. Y'all know about Whiskey Dave. This is Charlie. I mean, if the OJs can make a song called Brandy, why can't Whiskey David make a song about Charlie? Well, ladies and gentlemen, let's get back to the fact of how much I do appreciate the fact that this video is designed to cause you all to think, but to think abstractly, but also think logically and literally, because that's the way the law is written. And if you understand one thing, I created a phrase: if it doesn't make logic, it doesn't make sense. So what did I do? I took you here and I told you, because this thing actually specifically talked about a military reservation. This one right here, that's the one I'm going to because they highlighted the military reservation. Oh, no, 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 no. Fort Leavenworth versus Lowe. But that is the case. Okay, I see sheriff. That's the issue. I didn't see sheriff in the other ones, but I see sheriff here. That's why I thought it was a different case. But now we have the military reservation. Military got reservations. How many do they have? How many in your party? Well, what you mean? 200 million. No, you can't have 200 million in your party. Oh, you meant 200,000. Okay, we got enough seats for you. Okay, we're gonna sit you over there at that table right there. Yeah, we're gonna pull some more chairs up from the back. Okay, we got some tents too that we're gonna open up. So that Charlie Company, yeah, Charlie Company. Y'all hear him talking about Charlie Company, right? I can't make this stuff up, y'all. It ain't no coincidence. That's the entertainment you get while I'm waiting for things to move on. Let me see if I'm still connected. I'm connected. But look at that, the speed is too slow. Okay, something's wrong. So let me unplug. I unplugged it. and I reconnected it, and it says connected. Get out of here. Get out of here. Okay, sorry, they weren't supposed to be around. So let's see, I was at 6 and now I'm at 44 and 37. Okay, that's the problem. That's why I had to do that, y'all, because the speed was just too slow. Okay, now, A for plaintiff in error. Okay, field J for defendant in error. The plaintiff, pay attention, a corporation organized under the laws of Kansas was in 1880 and has ever since been the owner of the railroad in the reservation of the United States in that state, known as the Fort Leavenworth Military Reservation. In that year, its tracks, right-of-way, franchise, roadbed, telegraph line, and instruments connected therewith on the reservation were assessed by the Board of Assessors of the state a tax of $394 levied thereupon, which was paid by the railroad company under protest. That's right, you can make a payment under protest in order to prevent the sale of the property. The present action is brought to recover back the money thus paid on the grounds that the property being entirely within the reservation was exempt from assessment and taxation. That's right. It was on government land, but the reservation was not the property of the state. See, the land constituted a reservation was part of the territory acquired in 1803 by secession from France. And until the formation of the state of Kansas, her admission into the Union, the United States possessed the rights of a proprietor and had political dominion and sovereignty over it. Are you understanding what I'm trying to say? Now hold on. I told you it was going to talk about sovereignty. For many years before that admission, it had been reserved from sale by the proper authorities of the United States for military purposes and occupied by them as a military post. The jurisdiction of the United States, hold on, over it during this time was necessarily paramount. Why? Why was the jurisdiction necessarily paramount? Because it was a military post. But in 1861, Kansas was admitted into the Union upon an equal footing with the original states, not no more. That is, with the same rights as a political dominion and sovereignty, subject like them only to the Constitution of the United States. Congress might undoubtedly, upon such admission, have stipulated the retention of political authority, dominion, and legislative power of the United States over the reservation, so long as it should be used for military purposes by the government. That is, it could be expected to place from the jurisdiction of Kansas as needed for the uses of the general government. Again, sovereignty, military purposes, but from some cause, inadvertent perhaps, or overconfident that the recession or rescission of such jurisdiction can be had whenever desired, no such stipulation or exception was made. The United States therefore retained, after admission of the state, only the right of an ordinary proprietor, except as an instrument of execution and powers of general government. That part of the tract which actually was used for the fort or military post was beyond such control of the state, by taxation or otherwise, as would defeat its use for that purpose. Hold on, people, so that you understand. That part of the tract which was actually used for a fort or military post was beyond the control of the state, by taxation or otherwise. Why? Because a military base constitutes sovereign land, sovereign territory. Now, hold on. So far as the land constituting a reservation was not used for military purposes, the possession of the United States was only that of a lawful proprietor. Now, in 1933, that changed. That's what that was all about, to give the United States total and exclusive ownership of all land. See, before the state could exercise all its jurisdiction, but when the United States comes in and claims property, and as you learn by the land patent, That's right, you all should have learned by the land patent that is a superior claim, and the land patent is issued by the U.S. government. So that's what that does. It answers that law. But as you've learned, the new law was the issue. Hold on, getting there. Not there. Okay, not there. This section right here, this new law, this was to take away any and all control. How do we know? Because not there, not there, come on, there. The ownership of all property is in the state. Individual so-called ownership is only by virtue of government. Now, I want you to understand that this is not talking about state government. This is talking about the U.S. government, i.e. law. Okay, that's why you do the land grant. They say, no, this is talking about state government. No, it's not talking about state government. Pay attention. You see where it says in the state? Ownership is only by virtue of the state, is what it would have said. But it used a different term having a different connotation, which is a general term. So it could include the state and federal government. It says, i.e. law. What type of law? Military law, amounting to mere user. And the user must be in accordance with law and subordinate to the necessities of the state. This and that word, that phrase, the state and the government and the state, three different terms. I don't have to prove that to you. Congress proves it to you. That's why it says it represents a mortgage on all the homes and all the property of all the people. Now it says ownership of all property is in the state. That's why properties are registered with the state. That's why corporations have to be registered with the state. That's why the law specifically said that corporations cannot own property. So how does the state own property when the state is a corporation? Like I said, there's a lot of contradictions, but until you bring up the contradictions, you have to rebut their presumptions. That's been the problem. People have not been rebutting the presumption. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to go ahead and end this video because, again, if I get started, I'll just be repeating the same thing over and over again. I keep telling you about these particular sections of law. And again, as I told you what this case was going to talk about, I've never read this case before, but I could already tell you what it was going to talk about. I could already tell you it was going to talk about sovereign jurisdiction. I could already tell you, because it said military, that it was going to talk about the exclusive jurisdiction of the military. Okay? Now, I'm looking forward to see if I can see the word sovereignty again, because I know it's going to, okay, if so, what action would be required on the part of the executive or Congress to restore the land to the exclusive jurisdiction of the United States? I think you all will need to read this this case, because again, the executive or Congress to restore the land to the exclusive jurisdiction of the United States. Remember, the state only has the land as a result of its being admitted to the United States. But prior to that, the state didn't have the land. The United States had to first get the land before the state could have the land. In other words, before Arizona got its independence, before New Mexico got its independence, it used the U.S. military to get that independence. The same with California. Okay, that's why the Hidalgo Treaty was with the United States and not with the state. The Attorney General replied that the act admitting Kansas as a state into the Union had the effect to withdraw from the federal jurisdiction all the territory within the boundaries of the new state, excepting only that of the Indians having treaties with the United States, which provided without their consent, and the United States military has a treaty with the United States, that's why they can protect the United States, which provided that without their consent, such territory should not be subjected to state jurisdiction, and the reservation was not within this exception. Really? And that to restore the federal jurisdiction over the land included in the reservation, it would be necessary to obtain from the state of Kansas a secession from the jurisdiction, which he had no doubt would, upon application, be readily granted by the state legislature. This is the opinion of the Attorney General, blah, blah, blah. It does not appear from the record before us that the application was ever made, but on the 22nd of February, 1875, the legislature of the state passed an act called an Act to Cede Jurisdiction of the United States over the territory of the Fort Leavenworth Military Reservation. The first section, which says as follows. Now, I need you to do this, people. You see that 1875? Let's go. And this case was done 1885. It was decided 1885, 1880. So they had already ceded the property to the United States. The Supreme Court saying all that other stuff up there was unnecessary. Okay, that exclusive jurisdiction be the same as hereby conceded to the United States over and within the territory owned by the United States and included within the limits of the United States military reservation known as the Fort Leavenworth Reservation in said state, as declared at the time by the President of the United States, saying, however, to the said state, the right, or saving, however, to the said state, the right to serve civil and criminal process within said reservation, in suit, prosecution for, or in the amount of rights acquired, obligations, saving further, blah, 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 corporations, their franchise property, and said reservation. So here it is. They didn't have to pay the taxes because they had ceded it back to the United States. It didn't matter if they had the right to do all of that other stuff. Hold on. Let me go all the way down to the bottom. I just want to see if I'm right, because Supreme Court, back then, they usually tend to rule correctly. The military reservation of Fort Leavenworth was not, as already said, acquired by purchase with the consent of Kansas, and her cession of jurisdiction is not for exclusive legislative authority over the land, except as far as it may be necessary for it to use it as a military post. It is not contended that the savings clause of the Act for secession interferes with such use. There is, therefore, no constitutional prohibition against the enforcement of that clause, and the right of the state to subject the railroad to property tax existed before secession, and the invalidity of the tax levied is not being asserted on any other grounds that the supposed exclusive jurisdiction of the United States over the reservation. Notwithstanding the saving call, the judgment of the court is below, must be affirmed. Ladies and gentlemen, they're saying that because the person didn't bring forth the argument that I brought, that the fact that the state had ceded the property back to the United States, that means that they now had to get a secession from the United States in order to tax the property. They pay attention, except says her secession of jurisdiction is not exclusive to legislative authority of the land. Now, pay attention. They said it. I did not say it. I did not say it. And it is not contended that the savings clause in the Act of Secession interferes with such use. And that's all they had to do. Okay, they're saying that they didn't bring up anything else but one point. And that's why I tell you, you have to bring up every point. Even though they have said if you bring up too many points, you're going to lose the case. Ladies and gentlemen, you bring up everything so that they can't say you didn't bring it up. See, the invalidity of the tax levy not being asserted on any other grounds that the supposed exclusive jurisdiction of the United States over the reservation. The exact thing I said, that stupid congressional act gave exclusive jurisdiction back to the United States when they passed it. My phone is ringing again, y'all. So let me go ahead and let y'all go. I need to talk to this person, so let me let y'all go. That act right there. So you all have a good day.